Get in, get in.
Okay.
Get in, get in, get in. All right, all right, all right. So it's funny because now when we're live, everything is going
As per
doing its own
usual.
thing, right?
As per
Doing its
usual.
own thing. I am excited, guys, to be on this call, in this Zoom room with Dr. Sharon Reid. She is the Heart Lady, and we are actually celebrating men's health. And we're actually going to be specifically talking about mental health. And that is so important. So if you are hearing my voice and you know someone who's affected by mental health, men or female, but today we're focusing on the guys. This month we're focusing on the guys. You want to go ahead and get them on the call because they may get some good information right now. So I'm going to go live on TikTok. So if you guys want to check me out on TikTok, it is Dr. Zeudiann Coleman on TikTok. So you guys could also get that there too. I want to introduce myself and my partner that we're going to be letting off some great information. I am Dr. Z. I am a chiropractor, a holistic chiropractor here in Atlanta, Georgia, and in Conyers, Georgia. And I am really, excited about doing this because I think I am passionate about helping the men because usually it's the female that shows up for
Mhm.
help and they're getting it in, but the men, they're waiting for a catastrophe. And sometimes, they wait too long. So I want to really address this, and who better to do that with than our one and only Dr. Sharon Reid, our heart lady. Dr. Sharon, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Z. As you have said that I work with, my specialty is relationships and emotional healing. And I work with clients who want to be able to change those crazy arguments into meaningful conversations, and also those who want to uh, find out what's happening with them and change those painful experiences into purposeful life lessons. And so that, in a nutshell, is what I do. But also, mental health is so very important. And I want to honor all the men, particularly since we just had Father's Day. And so, all those who have
Mm-hmm.
children, whether biological or not, those who are mentors and mentees, I honor and salute you because, as we know, the mothers always get all the big hoopla, and then the fathers or the men get just a little
Right.
tidbit. So I'm really honoring you all. But Dr.
Yes.
Z, you had said that, a lot of times the men, and I'm gonna say the brothers, are not coming and talking about their health. There's been surveys around the world that finds that males everywhere are reluctant to
Mm-hmm.
talk about their mental health status. And actually, they're more likely to die than from by suicide than females. Some surveys say up to what 4%, and then say and then some say 2%. But in the United States, males make up almost 80% of all the deaths by suicide. That's a
Really?
whole lot. 80%.
Well, I mean,
That's
they're
a
carrying
whole
a
lot.
lot of the weight. They're told they got to carry the weight of the family. It's just a lot of mental toughness that they have to go through, and they feel like they can't speak to anybody about it. They don't want to show any form of weakness. So I think it's just a societal how or society has, you know, um, what's the word?
Yeah, it's this.
Programmed.
Yes, society has programmed them to
Hmm.
do that. Also, it's cultural,
Hmm.
right? Uh, and also, cultural and how their environment and how they were brought up to think and to feel and what they've been told not only by their fathers but also by their mothers. And so it's been and a lot of times the mental illness is missed because of how the symptoms present. And
Right.
and usually in men is presented with a lot of anger and aggression, and women have the opposite. Their moods are low and
Mm.
decreased. But so a lot of times it's missed because we're used to men being, so they say, being more aggressive, and we kind of pass it by. But oftentimes that's how it's presented. And so there's a lot of myths that go around with that.
And
Men
taboos.
taboos, right?
Hmm.
Irritability, all of those things are really, unfortunately, culturally acceptable in men, but not in women, because you've heard the cliche angry black women, right?
Right.
So women, show depression by a low mood rather, and then men show it more with anger and aggression
Aggression.
and irritability. So this is, so men are not going to go to the doctor and think that it's um that's a mental issue. Some also males may feel a racing heart, call it stress or digestive issues or headaches, and they attribute that to work or the other
Right.
stress that they have. And so for men, it's hard to
Absolutely.
diagnose because they just don't come forward. And particularly our brothers, they're not talking about it as much. I think now that we're
Hmm.
putting more light on mental
Hmm.
health, they're kind of getting it. But I think that also we as women and we as healthcare practitioners and we as friends and family need to
Hmm.
really start thinking and being more aware and educating ourselves about mental health and how it impacts males as much as it does women. I mean, because the stats are off the roof. And
It
talking about the stat,
is.
yeah, talking about the stats, Dr. Z, do you know that the American Indian and the Alaskan Native, they have the highest rate in the any demographic group? Guess how much percent?
Like 80.
How much percent are these the American Indian, the Alaskan Natives? How much
80%?
percent? Oh, ooh, that would be awful, but it's close. Then, and this is in comparative to their white counterpart, right? Sixty
Right.
percent, 60%.
Wow. That's still high.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so we
And I
kind
can
of,
tell, I can say some of the things that, um, I was saying, I can say that we're talking about the American Indians, and they're are they the minority? But the American Indians and blacks, of course, they share some of the same disparities in
yeah,
social
yeah,
status
absolutely.
that is a thing. So we really have to pay attention to not only just the society, but who is it affecting the most?
Yeah,
It could be the minority groups the
mm,
most, expectations and disparities and what they
yeah,
have to just go through.
yeah,
And it's great that you mentioned the American Indians, because we forget that they're subjected to so much. Can you
yeah,
imagine losing your land and
yes.
living on reservations, and now you're addicted to a lot of what do you call it? I heard that addiction to
To alcohol, and
and
at one
prevalent
time,
in.
yeah, at one time they used to be addicted to sniffing glue. Have you heard that? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
Mhm.
some opioids and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So yeah.
absolutely.
So I did
So,
want
and
to,
these are the same things we see in our own community,
yeah,
Black community, and definitely shedding a light on that and allowing them to come out and seek help. Because if they don't, then it would be again, um, looked at as always just stress from work or something
Right.
else, when it could be
Right.
something
Right.
else underlying.
Right.
I
Absolutely.
have something here that it says
Mhm.
here, reluctant to seek help. Men are generally less likely to seek help for mental health issues
Yeah.
compared to women, like I was saying before. And, it's just like that societal expectation, and the stigmas
Yeah.
around masculinity,
That's
can
right.
make men, less and also to seek the help. They might know they have it, but they might not want to seek help.
Yeah.
And the impact of the social expectations, the gender roles,
Right.
and pressure to conform to ideals of masculinity is a big thing. Now, I'm also wondering, like, you know, within the other groups, like, the LGBT groups where women are taking on male, how do they feel the same pressure mentally?
That's a good question. I'm not sure if they feel the same pressure as
I
men.
mean, do they have the benefit of being a female and just, acting out,
I
playing
think
a male role gives them an edge?
I think that for them, in their masculinity, taking on that role and also having female attributes, they probably have more cardiovascular issues
Mm-hmm.
than mental health
Okay,
issues. I think
right.
that a lot in that community are very self-aware,
Mm-hmm.
but then also the judgments and the feelings around that does affect their mental health. I haven't really seen
Right.
any stats with that. I think that's a really good point. And so if our viewers
Yeah.
and listeners know some information, please share that with us because I
Yeah.
really haven't thought
Another
about that.
subset.
Yeah,
Another subset to shine some light on. Um, and what in your work, you deal with a lot of couples,
yeah.
and typically it's the woman, probably, maybe, I don't know, bringing the guys in to have this conversation about what's going on in their relationship. Can you tell, based on a man's appearance or their body language, if they're going through some kind of a mental health, and how it's affecting their relationship? Can you identify that in a setting like that?
Well, when I deal with couples, I see them together and I see them apart. So when they're
Mm,
apart, I'm more able to identify. And plus,
mm-hmm,
I've taken some mental health first aid with
mm-hmm.
Emory, so I'm kind of more aware of the symptoms. But
Right.
I'm honored to say that when I have a lot of couples, can you believe that it's a lot of the men who call me and say we have issues? I feel yeah,
Wow,
I don't know why I'm so proud of that, but
that's
I
great.
just honor that is out of all the couples that I have, the
Right.
majority, I would say 98% of them is the guys who have called and said we have issues that I want to work out. So I really want to say kudos and
Kudos.
that I honor brothers who are saying, hey, I want to keep my relationship together. I want to have better communication. I want to see what's going on with me and my partner so that we can have a longer lasting relationship. I love it, but
Right.
that's the truth that's happened for me. And on that note, though, Dr. Z, I'd like to have people think about there's a difference between emotional health,
Hmm.
mental health, and mental illness.
Yeah, tell me about that, because I thought that was the same thing.
Yeah, a lot of
So
people
I
say emotional
definitely,
health and mental health, and they think it's the same. But when we're talking about
right.
emotional, we're talking about feelings. We're talking about thoughts. We're in this almost, it's about being able to regulate and manage your emotions. So if you're familiar with emotional intelligence, those
Hmm.
are the
Hmm.
same when we're talking about emotional health. When we're
Hmm.
talking about mental health, we're really talking about the brain, right? And how we make our decisions, and how we manage our mental stress. And it also has to do a lot with our family history. And so it's a cognitive thing rather than a feeling thing. When we're talking about emotional health, we're thinking more symptoms of anxiety and depression. And then when we're talking about mental health, it's being able to handle that anger, that aggression, the mental stress that are able to go, and our interactions with one another. Now, mental illness is more biological, it's more chemically induced, a disruption in the brains. And that's where,
Right.
in the brain, that's where, medication and further assessments,
So there's a
testing.
diagnosis.
Absolutely. And
Right.
so in my field, I don't diagnose. All I can
Mhm.
say is that these are the symptoms that I'm seeing, and they have some general assessments that can be taken, that I do have my clients take and see where they are. And then I will go ahead and resource them, tell them someone else that can help handle that particular issue.
Right.
So that's, not my domain. I stay in my lane because I don't diagnose and I don't prescribe.
Well, we kind of are in the same arena when it comes
Yeah,
to holistic,
yeah,
and I feel that since COVID, a lot of the alternative medicine have been put into the primary care, under the primary care
yeah.
umbrella, um, and it's an opportunity to help more people.
Yeah,
Because of course they're in our office and they may be coming in for back pain and all sort of other stuff, but there might be some underlying issues that's causing some of those things, right?
right,
And as a chiropractor, I'm always wondering, like, of course, I don't diagnose mental health
right.
issues. I stay in my lane, just like what you were saying
Yeah,
earlier, and but they identify some things that could make someone who has mental health issues
yeah.
more symptomatic, and be able to address certain things that could help their issue.
Right. And I
And,
was going to ask you the same type of question you asked me, is
mhm,
as a chiropractor, how do men present when they're in a lot of pain? Do you feel as though they are either exaggerating, because some women say, oh, they get a cold and they're just the biggest babies, or
right.
do you see them trying to be strong and not really show their pain? Because oftentimes I know that you score them and you ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, how much is your
Hmm.
pain? Do you think they are really telling the truth, exaggerate for impression, their manhood, or what? or
Well, I will tell you right now,
yeah.
men are the hardest to get information from as far as their
Okay.
pain. A lot of
Okay.
times they're not so in tune with pain unless it's something like so out there
Yeah.
that then they become babies, as they move from one extreme to the other.
Mm.
So the way I address men when it comes to their pain, I ask a lot of indirect questions that may have nothing to do with pain, so that I get the answer regardless, without them
Mm.
thinking, "Oh, what's my pain? I don't have pain. I don't."
Right, right.
So, and I probably use a lot of my objective findings, such as range of motion,
Hmm.
those things that you can measure for them, because
Yeah.
they, they're in their head when it comes to trying to explain to me, what's your pain level. I'll ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your pain level, and they'll tell me that they don't have pain, but I can see in their face
Yeah.
that they're grimacing. I feel the
Mm.
pain, that I feel their pain sometimes.
Yeah.
So even if they, come in and say, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 5. I already know that it's a 9 somewhere up there.
A nine.
It's up there. I'm a 5.
Okay. I
But
think.
then, but then, you know what? I take their 5, and
Yeah.
every day I compare. So yesterday you're a 5. That's your 5.
Yeah.
What are you today? Still a 5. Still a 5. And they might stay at a 5 for a minute until when the pain actually goes really down, then they'll say, "Oh, I feel much better today. It's a 3." So that's when they really hit
Mm-hmm.
what could be a 5 in my opinion, my perception.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
I do a little measure what they're saying differently, get the answers differently,
Yeah.
and how chiropractic care can provide potential benefits
Yeah.
to someone who have mental health issues. Not that I can identify that they have mental health, but if I'm doing all these things, it could be addressing it indirectly.
Yeah.
And these could be potential benefits for mental health, primarily through um, the effects on their physical well-being
Yeah.
and on their nervous system, which of
Yeah.
course mental health has to do with the brain, like you're
Brain.
saying.
Yeah.
And some of the ways that chiropractic can actually help is through the adjustments to alleviate pain, to include like back pain, neck pain, headaches.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not necessarily those regular pains that we know, but it could be things like just anxiety,
Yeah.
reducing stress,
Stress. Right.
uh, pain that just never goes away. They just live
Right.
with it,
And that time and
right?
pain, especially joint, muscle, and musculoskeletal pain changes the mood. That there are mood changes with that because you're not
Hmm.
your full, healthy, feeling self. And so I think that the other
Yes,
things that come with that um, is that we want to educating and think about, are they how is their concentration daily, right? And are
hmm
they feeling restless? And another one that I know I hear you talk about in the office is the energy levels, right?
hmm hmm
And
hmm
also, how is their appetite? Is it increased or decreased? Is there
hmm
a change in quality of sleep or the schedule of sleep? All of
right.
those things have to do with um, can affect your mental health as
Mental
well
health.
as your emotional health. And I think this is one of the things why we're bringing this up to our viewers is Dr. Z and I, we work together because both of us who are holistic in our practices, Dr. Z recognizes that that is not all physical. And a lot
Right.
of it is emotional and or mental. And so I help complement that when I'm there. And so if she kind of suspects that there's a little bit more going on, then she will refer them to me. So
Right.
yeah, we
And
really want to bring that out.
I
Mhm.
think that when there is this kind of partnership, we both have our own specialties, and as we are, I would say, contracted out by these patients to help them get better.
Yeah,
We are contractors, and we just need to be able to have all the tools. That we all don't know everything. So if you know that section, I'm more in the physical part, you're more in the mental, emotional part, and
yeah,
it works out perfectly in that arena. Because I know for sure that we can help a lot more men with their mental health if we can actually tap into get them to talk more about those things.
yeah,
And another thing that chiropractic does is help with stress relief.
mhm,
And so we can reduce stress by promoting relaxation,
mhm,
improving the function of the nervous system in that way. Also, the adjustment does that, reduce muscle tension,
yeah,
and most of the time that can help lead into a sense of physical and mental relief.
yeah.
Of course, guys, they want to, like we said earlier, they have pain, but they don't think it's bad enough to even talk about it.
Yeah, and they need to continue working. And actually,
Hmm.
some of them, they if they do talk about it, it's more in informal settings. They'll talk,
Hmm.
mention it maybe to the guys that they hang around with, maybe to coworkers, maybe at the barber shop, and other informal settings. I
Settings,
think
yeah,
that what we like about how we practice is that we're approachable and we make them they feel
right.
safe and that they're able
Hmm.
to communicate. And so we really want the brothers to really educate themselves on the symptoms of mental health,
Yes.
to be able to recognize where they are, to be able to accept that that's what it is. Because, especially during these times, men, I think a lot of the stresses and the mental health stresses in particular is either lack of income or low income, or wanting to make a higher income, and then being able to balance that with home life responsibilities at home, responsibilities with their spouse and with their extended families. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I get it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot to deal with, and to be able to identify how they cope with these skills, because some of them have unhealthy coping skills,
Yeah.
drinking too much, um, um, uh, what else? Drinking too much,
Taking meds.
taking
Taking meds.
meds,
Yeah.
other addictive behaviors,
Mm-hmm.
gambling,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
um, indiscriminate
Even
sexual
even
activities.
there you
There
go.
was, yeah.
Yeah.
So the first thing is to be able to recognize and identify unhealthy coping mechanisms, and so
Right.
that they can now start to say, "Oh, I really need help because I'm doing this." And am I stressed? Am I sad? To really, I teach my clients at night, do a body scan, right? And to really
Mm-hmm.
assess, how am I feeling and how am I showing up daily? How did I treat this person? Why did I treat this person? And, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things is also ancestral. I don't want to forget the spiritual part of it. There are also things
Mm-hmm.
that we inherit, physical traits, but we also inherit emotional traits,
Wow.
relationship traits, how we deal with money. All of those
Mm-hmm.
are still part of our DNA, and they go back generations.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
so sometimes, an individual will be feeling this way and they don't know why, and they really can't identify. And that's when seek help. Seeking help is self-love. It's the highest form of self-love. Too many of us, we are, and this is male and female, that we don't ask for support. And then, in my couples, they say they feel like they're supporting their male partners, and the male partner, so that's not support. So we need
Right.
to we need to ask them
Define.
there you go. Define
Define what
support.
support is.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And accept the feelings, when they get them. Okay, so this is really how I'm feeling. How do I process it? How do I manage it? How do I express it? And what am I going to do about it?
Yeah. And I think, and emotional status is such a mystery sometimes, in certain things, that the other partner may think that they're doing all that is they're supposed to do, and it's not making any,
Yeah.
heads or tails. So like communication is important, like, did this help? Have that open communication with the partner if what they're doing is making any difference, so that they can together decide on what will work.
Yeah.
Try something different instead of keep doing the same thing, and
Yeah.
chances are they'll go somewhere else to get what they
Yeah.
think they need.
Yeah.
But that is definitely on your end with the relationship thing, just that communication with each other.
Yeah.
um and it definitely coincides, the emotional well-being and their physical well-being, and
Right.
intermingling with all that.
Yeah, and especially when it comes to economics, right? Money is such a big stressor for male and females, but males have
Hmm.
been uh, programmed to know that they are the providers, and that's what
Hmm.
most women expect. And when they don't live up to that, they seem to lose their purpose, and it really messes with their mental because of these expectations. And so, if you're in a partnership, whether married or living with a partner, it's important that we define the relationship, and that
Hmm.
we um, check in with each other, and reassure and nurture each other, and be able to accept constructive criticism, or what I
Criticisms.
like to call self improvements, things that
Hmm.
we can do. What can we do to help bring this? Not what you could do, or what I can do. What can we do so that we
Right.
can work with it with each other? Sometimes it's to release stress is as simple as having a hobby. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I think that when I ask my clients, what do you do for fun? They struggle with that. How do you relax? They struggle with that. And so it is,
Yeah.
there is no really, there is no such thing as work-life balance because either you're going to be working too hard or you play too much, right? But there,
Yeah.
there's
You
really
know,
no
and
such thing as life-work balance. But there is a way of understanding that I am going to prioritize myself. And,
right.
you know, I have a client who was a truck driver and he would schedule his self-care time with me. And he would
Mm-hmm.
actually use that word. He said, "This is my
Oh,
self-care time."
self-care time. Well,
Yeah.
that's a good way to even just get these guys to start talking to
Yeah.
somebody outside their circle so they can get
Yeah.
real help.
Yeah.
Not the barbershop help, you know, but professional help. And
Yeah.
if they want to call, if you want to call it a self-care time,
Hmm.
that if that works, then that's exactly
Yeah.
what we probably need to see if we can brand that and make that a thing, you know, because definitely,
Yeah.
you know, you brought up some
Yeah,
good
I admired that. He was like, I put it on the
facts about
calendar. Yeah.
ways to. Mhm.
Yeah. You.
I was saying that I actually was pointing out the point about other ways to reduce stress.
Hmm.
I do know someone who they would do the lawn, you know, doing their lawn
Yeah.
and seeing how their lawn flourish and all that. That's their stress reliever.
That's right.
Or you know, walking their dog
Yeah.
is a stress reliever for them. Doing tasks around the house, like you know, being handy, you know, tinkling with their car, you know, is their self time to do nothing, and but doing something at the same time and releasing or decompressing.
Yeah.
So yeah, there men have, but here's the thing: like now in this new time, this is 2025,
Hmm.
and a lot of guys, they might not be doing lawns anymore. They might not be, you know, building a shed or doing those handy things. The new generation, what these you know, these guys back in the days, they used to do those kind of handy things to take their minds off stuff.
Yeah.
What are the new generation doing? Are they getting into more gaming, or
Yeah.
are they doing more, you know, on their phone stuff? I mean, is that helping at all? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that you're right. A lot of them will say the video gaming, I'm scrolling through the social media, that is their relaxation time, watching TV. I think that we have to be mindful because a lot of this screen timing, TV, social media, these movies, the messages that they are sending
That's
also
exactly
put
negative
added
messages.
pressure
Hmm.
in our mind, and we see how
Hmm.
it plays out in our relationships. And my thing is that it's good, you know, for some time, but we have to be able to monitor ourselves, just like how many of us will monitor our children, how much screen time it is. And there are so many other things that you can do. I think that, you know, even just sleep. Huh? Somebody, you worked hard this week, you just need to stay in the bed, sleep,
Some guys, they don't want to
relax.
stay still. They don't
I
want to stay
know
still.
that's that nervous system, right? That you were
Yeah.
talking about, because they're used to, I have to be doing
They are
something.
hyperactive, hyper stimulated. They're used to juggling a million things, and if they're not juggling anything, something, you know, is off. So
Yeah.
they can't stand still. They have to be doing something. I don't know
And
if
that
that's how
affects the
they're
mental health,
raised.
right? Because your brain needs to relax. This is why
Hmm.
sleeping and having adequate sleep is
Yeah,
so important, because your brain needs rest time. And I
absolutely.
can't emphasize that enough. Sleeping is healing. It really is.
Yeah. And I don't think people understand that when we're talking about sleep, we're not just talking about, like, you know, taking
Being
a
in the
quick
bed.
nap here and there.
Yeah.
We're talking like getting a deep REM sleep where you, when you get up, you feel rested, and that you know, your body is resetting and rejuvenating. The kind of sleep. If you're sleeping with your lights on, your phone on, and your TV still going, and all
Mhm.
that, that's not really good REM sleep. And so it can actually deteriorate not only your brain, like you were saying, but the
Yeah.
rest of your physical
Because
body. and enhance pain, so
And
that's
your
another
nervous
thing that we
system.
address
It
in
really
the art.
does, because all of this
Yeah.
EMF and what that they affect our physical body. Why? Because we are not only flesh and blood, we are electrical beings and we are magnets. And so we attract
Mhm.
these electronics, and it does
Mhm.
wreak havoc on our brain. There are many studies that have proven that. So to
Oh yeah.
to go ahead and kind of wrap this up, some of the things for mental health, I'm sure many of you heard of meditate. There's meditation. There are many different types of meditation. It's just not crossing your legs and saying, oh, it's just it's more than that, right? You can dance, you
Right.
can play music, you can count, you can do breath work, you can exercise. There are many things that you can do to refocus the brain, and so that you can calm down how you breathe. That's what it is. And there's still a lot of men out there who like to journal. So journaling is still a good way to release your stress, especially
Mhm.
when we're having financial issues. I find that if we think of gratitude, even though you have financial, many have financial issues, many are living in a home. Many do not miss a meal. They have something to eat. Many
Mhm.
have other people who care about them. They have clothes to put on. So the simplest thing, the air is not
Mhm.
that great, but it's greater than other places. Some have transportation. Some
Right.
are able to get to work, even though the pay is not great. But let's be thankful that we do have a job and something is coming in. So I think really, if
Absolutely.
we go deep into gratitude, it
Yeah.
helps to bring the more of the goodness to you.
And that's where spirituality comes in, because when
Absolutely.
you're exercising spirituality, then you automatically are dealing with the gratitude part.
Yes.
And when you don't have connection with a higher being, and you think that it's all you and everything, when you're like, I'm Christian, so I know that there's some burdens I just know I can't carry. I just say I'm going to give it to God, and I'm going to do my best, and keep trying. If I fail, try again. So my mindset on the extra pressures, that things that come from here and there, I say, okay, God, help me with this part. I'm giving you the wheel. But if you
Yes.
don't have that concept in your head that you're not in control of everything, and you can just let some of that go, then you'll be dragging that burden with you all the time.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
Dr. Z, did you realize that just having general attitude of gratitude, it releases depressive thinking for 35%. It
Wow.
decreases depressive thinking symptoms 35%
Can
just
you
by
imagine that?
expressing That's a whole lot.
Gratitude. That
Mhm.
that is one less medication you may need, for somebody who sometimes some of these medication for mental health, they have other side effects. So if you can put some gratitude in there, you could be definitely helping yourself 35%
35%
less of that.
is impressive. And it's helping to retrain your brain
Hmm.
as well. And so people that
Wow.
are more grateful, it
Hmm.
increases the levels of positivity,
Yeah.
vitality, become more optimistic. They start to seek out ways that they can pleasure themselves.
Hmm.
They enjoy holidays. They have more
Hmm.
joyful seasons. So really being grateful is really high on emotional and mental health.
Yes.
And the words
Man,
that you use, yes. So
that
take
is that is that is the nugget that we should take away from this whole thing this today, because it's gratitude. Let's start with gratitude, guys. And also, going both ways. We give them gratitude. Men like to be acknowledged that they're doing a great job.
absolutely.
So if we show our gratitude as females to our male counterpartners, let them know they're doing a good job, and to continue. If they're failing, just say, hey, this is just a stuff
Affirmation. We have to
right
affirm.
here to help with support and
Yeah.
so forth. And Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we have to affirm
Mm-hmm.
our brothers a
Absolutely.
lot
Yeah.
more than we do.
Yeah.
We have to honor them a lot more
Mm-hmm.
than we do. Help
Yeah.
uplift them even when they're in the lowest part. You'd be surprised how, if we just say words of kindness. Recently I had a client who who was very sickly and was in the hospital. And I asked him, I said, how does this affect your mental? And he was like, you know what? I've been taught that I'm the breadwinner and I need to take care of everybody else. And when I got
Mm-hmm.
sick like that, there was a lot of guilt. There was a lot of shame. There was a lot of shoulda, coulda, woulda. And he says,
Mm-hmm.
he did I, and then start cussing himself. Did I take so long? How come I didn't recognize this? He started to even, question his faith. He said he just had a mirage of feelings of self-doubt. And so I asked him, well, what things helped to get him out of that? And he said it really was support from his partner. He said it was the
Mm-hmm.
support. His partner made him feel safe enough that he could express how he truly feels. And she kept on saying, you know, you're going to get through this. We're going to get through this together. It says, don't believe the lies. Don't get sucked into all the worst things that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
And she
Mm-hmm.
would just feed him positivity. And she said, the more she fed him the positivity, is the more he was able to lift himself out of those negative
Wow.
thoughts. And he healed faster than he thought he would.
Absolutely.
And the
Mm-hmm.
doctors thought he would. So just having that healthy support system,
Healthy
taking care of
frequency.
yourself. And you know what
Mm-hmm.
we didn't talk about that really impacts health too, is mental health in particular, is the things that you eat.
Yes, and I was going to touch a little bit on nutrition because, of course, that's as a chiropractor, that's what we kind of hit more on than the medication. I don't know nothing
Yeah.
about the medication, but we can probably talk about the ashwagandha, talk about the lemon balm, talk about,
Yes.
you know, um, the valerian root, talking about things that actually help. Uh, of these anxiety and stuff like that. And we
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
have, supplements like that in our office that, I suggest and recommend. It's always a choice.
Yeah, and
And
some of them will complement the medication that they need until they don't need it
mm,
anymore, and then they can
right,
detox and it's to eat
right.
the healthier stuff. But it's a commitment. It's a
Hmm.
commitment to take care of your mental, emotional, and spiritual health. It is about self-awareness. And so if you are train yourself to check in with your body, check in with your mental health status, find people that are there to support you. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised who is there to support you. But you just have to be open and vulnerable enough to be able to get that support. So, I really want to, again, honor the brothers and
Hmm.
encourage them to please check in with themselves and don't be too prideful. Don't let your ego go with before
That's
you. Check yourself out and find someone else to talk to, other than maybe your pastor. But find groups are really good, because you'll be surprised how many brothers are having the same type of issues, and what things help them. Have an accountability partner. Talk to you. Seek out professional
hmm
help. But please, as they say on the TV commercials, if you can't get help here, get help somewhere. But yeah, so that's what
that
I'm
is true.
encouraging.
Talking to That's true. I like what you just said because when we're looking at the statistics, the disparities in access and
Mhm.
treatment for
Yeah,
or black and brown um, men, black individuals often face significant barriers to access mental health care, including lack of insurance,
yeah,
not enough money,
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like that, and limited availability of
yeah,
cultural, competent mental health providers. Sometimes you might need a provider who understands your situation,
yeah,
based on your culture and so forth. So if there's a conversation going on and the provider cannot relate,
Yeah.
then the help might be a little watered down or cookie cutter, and it
That's
doesn't
right.
necessarily work for everybody.
That's right.
Historical mistrust of the medical system is one of the things that was put
Absolutely.
there
Yeah.
due to the past injustice and systematic racism. Also contributes to hesitancy in seeking care. How
Hmm.
much of what they're saying or what they're going to be saying is going to be used against them down the
Against them.
line in their
That's right.
job and stuff like that. And consequently, Black individuals, Black men, we're talking about today, or Black and Brown, are less likely to receive mental health treatments and more likely to receive substandard care
Substandard. Absolutely.
when they do seek for help.
Yeah.
And this disparity can lead to untreated, inadequate treatment for mental health conditions, and over time exacerbating the overall burden on the community.
Yeah.
And that's such a shame, because these are our brothers, these are our fathers, these are our
Our cousins,
the
our
Black woman,
uncles. Yes.
and
That's right.
they're
And
dealing with, especially if they've been in the army, they've served, you know,
veterans. Yeah.
and we're coming up with 4th of July, and a lot of our
Yeah. Our veterans are.
patriotic days, but we have to remember those veterans that came back, with a lot of stuff going on in their head, and they have to jump right back into being the man of the
Yeah.
house, and unfinished things that are not necessarily taken care of. Now, when those things are not taken care of, what happens is that mental issue become a physical issue, as far as chronic illness, chronic pain,
Absolutely.
and
Yep.
probably attacking certain organs like the prostate, the lungs, the
Yes.
throat,
Yes.
because they're not able to exercise, throat chakra, whatever, that energy flow is cut off.
Kind of. Yeah.
So it just has to be addressed if we're
Yeah.
going to be talking about men's health
Men's health. That's right.
overall.
And I want to take the time to really applaud and thank those who are advocates for men's health, mental health in particular, and for our veterans. I want to thank you, and to continue to do the work, continue to educate us, continue to educate particularly the providers, and for those that are really out there on the front line marching for this awareness, so that there are insurance, there is adequate health care. And so it's important that if you suspect someone have mental health, it's really great if someone else is there with them to support them and to be able to hear and digest some of the words, making sure that you're always writing down names of doctors, asking questions. Too often we have been trained to just whatever the doctor says, we do, instead of questioning, is there another way? Is there an alternative way? Or what are the adverse effects? We get weaned off of this? And asking more questions to advocate for your own health. So I think that's important, but really getting involved, helping with the laws, helping with men to be able, not just men, but we're talking about men today, for them to be able to have the adequate health care, as you said, and for providers, practitioners to be able to not to ask the questions. Your patient shouldn't be leaving your office until you are clear that they are having the mental clarity and capacity. Are they burnt out at work? Is their home life stable? How are they managing their stress? These should be just common questions every time
Right.
a client goes to a provider, and it doesn't matter what level of insurance they have. And
Right.
so, Dr. Z, I want to thank you for this time to share.
Yes, that was a good chat. I think it's a great subject to continue. We will definitely got to hit that one again.
Yeah, so we invite you all to give comments, give suggestions. I was also looking up, um, I really wanted to, where is it? Let me look on my laptop. There are some great books out.
Resources?
Yeah, there's some great
Okay.
books out there.
Yeah, I think I had a few resources that I thought I would
Yeah,
share.
can you share some resources on that?
Absolutely. So, let's see. Um, Okay.
I had some great books and that I had up on my laptop. And okay, so there are some books. The mental health mixtape for Black men. So there is a holistic workbook and journal with activities to help improve wellness and alleviate depression and anxiety. You can
Mm.
find that about $12 on Amazon if that's a platform that you use. There are self-care for Black men, 100 ways to heal and liberate. Love that title. Like I said, there are many different healing journals. There's another book called Two Sides to a Man: The Silent Battles of a Black Man by O.
Wow.
Diaz. $10. You can read it or for free on Kindle. Then also, I see a lot of women talk about manifestation, but there are men manifest all the time. So they
Mm-hmm.
got manifestations for our brothers, daily positive affirmations, and being able to reflect and adapting new healthy habits. And brothers need to be doing the shadow work too. So
Yeah.
introduce them to the shadow work as well. We have to be able to give them time so that they can self-reflect. All right. There's another book called
Yeah.
Cry Like a Man. Mm,
Mm.
yeah. And of course, many other gratitude
That's
books.
definitely powerful. That's definitely
Hmm.
powerful. I pulled up some resource here, some inclusive therapists, not, yourself, of course, number one. I'll definitely, if you guys are listening and you need someone to speak to, at least someone, a friendly face, the one and only Heart Lady would be the first place I would suggest that you start. And if it's something that you need more than her services, she can always refer you out. But there's also some other resources out there. I was looking at this, the Boris Lawrence Henson Foundation. They're with Ta the actress Taraji
Taraji,
Henson.
yes, she is promoting
Yes,
mental health.
she's doing
Absolutely. Yeah.
mental health support, particularly
Hmm.
focusing on the Black community. And also, I'm working with a business owned by Black and Brown men, and one of their main focus is mental health. And definitely, David Emanite is one of them. He's lost a sibling to mental health, and so they started a foundation. So every either on their site of any of their stuff, whether it's your vitamins or whether it's anything that you purchase from their site, there is $1 going into the foundation. And so if you ever just Google Envision U, NVISION, and the letter U, you can definitely put in foundation and you'll see the mental health foundation that is supported by any purchase on their site. So yeah, I can definitely, if you're on TikTok or Facebook, I can definitely leave a link so you can see that. And it's always good to support these groups because they don't necessarily get a lot of federal support too. So it's basically just
Our
our
financial
monetary help.
support. Yeah.
Our,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI, Black and African American. The website is nami.org. Your Journey, Identity and Cultural Dimensions. So definitely something that supports some of the things that we deal with on a daily basis, especially
Mhm.
for a man. Here's another one, Black Men Heal. So the website is blackmenheal.org.
Mhm.
It really focuses on providing free therapy and mental health resource for Black men,
Mhm.
addressing the unique challenges that they face that we were talking about, that we do have a unique challenge that our Black men do face. Another one is the Loveland Foundation org that offers financial assistance for therapy to listen is Black women and girls, I guess, that one snuck in there. So that's, there are some things out there that can
Yeah.
help,
Just a little
to
research.
get started.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
for those who don't have the finances, there are resources. We just need to do a little more research, ask a little
Yeah.
bit more, ask for support.
Hmm.
You'd be surprised who has something for you. So yeah.
Right.
So we're hoping that you
Yeah.
enjoyed this. I did.
Absolutely. We definitely need to go back and revisit this topic of mental health. And mental health should not be just for June. I think that, between both of us, we're dealing with mental health, Black mental health, or just mental health with people every day, because sometimes their physical health
Hmm.
is from their mental health issues.
Yeah.
So, we definitely need to put more emphasis on this just for June.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, relationships, they impact the quality of your health, how you love, and the way you live. Please take care of your heart. Ask the heart lady.
That's right. Whatever she said, that is exactly what I was going to say. And
All
of
right.
course, as a chiropractor, I'm always going to say take care of your physical health, and let's find out what are the underlying causes of some of those physical health, because they could be stemming from some mental issues or emotional issues. So together we can definitely help you. Thanks for listening in. Again, my name is Dr. Zeudiann Coleman, your chiropractor in the Atlanta area or Conyers, and chime in again, leave in the comments. Okay, yes, yes, yes. Like and share in the comments anything that you may want us to talk about next time,
Right.
and we'll
Or that
definitely address
resonated
that.
with you. Yeah, for sure.
Right, or anything that resonated with you. If you need some more resources, we can, DM us, and we can certainly reach out back to you guys.
All right. Give thanks. One love.
One love. Take care.